Hi friends, my name is Veronica. This is part 3 or a year later follow-up video about my hip replacement surgery that I did a year ago. If you haven't seen my video yet, please check the link in the description below. I also attached the exercises in part 2 that you will need to do after the surgery. I received a lot of feedback and views on my first video about the surgery, and I really appreciate all of your feedback and follow-up. I'm glad that my diary was useful for some of you and gave you some ideas and some step-by-step guide on what to expect for your surgery. In this video, I decided to do a follow-up a year later after the surgery, tell you about my path through this 12 months, what I went through, what I coped with, and some lessons learned. For those of you who are preparing or contemplating to do a surgery, I have to tell you that this is a major surgery and it is going to take you some time to recover. It is not only going to be your physical recovery, but also a mental recovery. The biggest thing that you have to mentally prepare yourself for is that it will never be the same. Yes, you will get your life back on track, you will be able to move, you will live without pain, but the hip will never feel the same as your own. So the mental preparedness for the surgery and after the surgery is going to be just relax, let yourself heal over time. Don't push yourself too hard. You will have to accept how it feels because you will have to live with it for the rest of your life. The main mental goal should be, how do I get from all this pain through the recovery of the surgery and go back to normal life with no pain? For me personally, that was the goal number 1, because the amount of pain I had to deal with the last year before the surgery was excruciating. I couldn't do the basic tasks, I couldn't walk up the steps, I couldn't do much. Being fairly young for this surgery, I couldn't work out, but I still went on a couple of trips. I still tried to keep up with my life and the demands of my life. And unfortunately, the doctor will tell you to deal with the pain as much as you can until you cannot cope with it anymore. Because at some point, even my medications stopped working on me, the painkillers, and I had the pain all the time and every day. So as much as you want to go back on track with your life after the surgery, it will be a process and it will take time. But the main goal is to get rid of the initial pain and all that lack of motion that you had prior to the surgery. So just prepare yourself mentally that it is going to be a recovery, not just the physical recovery, but the mental recovery. And you will have to take one day at a time and prepare yourself that some motions might never come back and you will have to live with it. As long as you don't have the pain, that's all it matters. So now I'm going to talk about my physical activity the first year after the surgery. So of course, the couple of months right after the surgery were tough. So you couldn't really do much. Yes, I did the walking, I did the exercises, I was able to walk up and down the steps, but everything was a very slow process. Plus, the doctor gives you certain limitations of the bending and things you cannot do the first 6 months. So you have to get used to it. Some people might still be using the cane. Other people might still need help of their relatives and family. So for example, if I was trying to clean up my house by myself, it was a very tough chore, especially the first couple of months after the surgery, because I was extremely slow and I couldn't do much. So if some of the tasks require you to bend and to do vacuuming, maybe cleaning bathrooms and things like that, maybe it makes sense to hire help or ask your family to help in the meantime. I did start working out and try to use my treadmill primarily for walking or walking outside, but I gotta tell you that at some point, especially in the beginning, the muscles were still rather tight. So you don't want to push yourself too hard. So you want to pace yourself so you don't hurt your new hip. So give yourself time, do things slow, there is no rush, there is no competition. You don't have to perform the same way as others or like myself, because your age also plays a big role. The older you are, the harder it is for you to recover and the harder it is for you to do certain tasks. Take your time, pace yourself, and don't push too hard, would be my advice. Right after the surgery, you might not have the pain and that recovery process will take time, maybe a month or 2. But overall, your muscles and your hip will not feel the same right away. It might feel tight, especially the muscles when you're moving it, when you're walking, when you're doing the steps, or just working out or exercising. And to be honest with you, even a year later, sometimes I do feel the tightness in my hip. So it doesn't always feel 100% perfect or as if it's my own hip. From time to time, I do get that feeling that it's not mine, that it is the implant. The doctors usually warn you that after the first year, whatever your hip feels like, however you move, whatever you're able to do physically, maybe working out or moving, that's how it's going to feel for the rest of your life. So physically, don't expect much. Just be happy that you don't have pain. The other thing that the doctor assured me was that I don't have to do a repetitive surgery unless something breaks or there was an emergency accident. And my doctor hopes that I can keep this hip for the rest of my life without any adjustments or additional surgeries. That is a great plus for me. Many people are worried if they can get back to normal after a surgery like this. And I have to assure you that you will be able to. Yes, getting rid of the pain is a huge thing, but also you can get back your life on track. As you probably know, I'm a traveler and I love to make vlogs and videos about my trips. And over this past year after the surgery, I was able to go on a couple of cruises. It was actually 2 cruises, one to Alaska with my kids, and the other one was to Europe, to Greece, and some other beautiful countries in the Mediterranean. Also, I was making trips to the beach and just went to India this month. So I was able to stay active, I was able to keep up with all the walking and the steps. Yes, sometimes I had to be a little bit slower, take my time, but overall I was able to keep up. Yes, maybe I was not able to run or do any jumping, but you will definitely be able to do general tasks like walking and doing different activities with your family. As far as doctor's appointments, I really didn't have many. I had a couple of PTs. I have a video about my physical therapy. It was only for 1 week. They gave me different exercises, they showed me what to do. But because I was recovering much easier than people older than me, I did not have to do any additional rehab or physical therapy. So that was great. The doctor pretty much told me just walk, do as much walking as you can, exercise, but don't push yourself too hard because you still have to be gentle on the new hip that they just placed. I did have a few follow-up appointments with the doctor. They did x-rays, everything looked great. I have one last appointment coming up that is 1-year appointment, and I feel great, so I probably won't even go to this appointment because everything looks good, feels good, so I don't have any issues. Now I want to share something about my scar area and how it feels to the touch. So where they cut the muscle, you do have some nerves that were damaged. So above the scar, I feel everything fine. There is no tingling, there is no weird sensations. But under the scar, I do feel some tingling when I'm touching it. Plus, I feel the numbness around the area right underneath the scar. So the doctor said that this numbness will probably never go away just because the muscle was cut. And I probably will still have the same sensations years from now. I still try to be gentle around this area. I can't sleep on that side, so I'm comfortable with it. But if somebody hits me by mistake, or if I touch myself or rub against something, I do have like just a weird feeling about it because it's the scar area, it's the sensitive area. So that is expected and it's normal. So the main lessons that I learned this year is number 1, take your time and pace yourself. Don't push too hard because that physical recovery and emotional recovery take time. Lesson 2 is, yes, it is worth to do the surgery because if you're living in pain prior to the surgery or you're still deciding whether you should go for the surgery or not, and you cannot really do any regular activities of your life, you cannot walk, you cannot do the steps, you cannot work out, it's definitely ruining your life and you cannot get back to normal. So you have to do the surgery. And the end result is definitely worth it because you can get your life back on track. And the third lesson that I learned is you have to follow the instructions of your doctor. So if they give you some limitations of things to do and not to do, if they prescribe you some physical therapy or additional exercises, you have to follow everything to a T. You cannot just ignore certain things because that's how you're going to get back to normal faster. So you have to follow the instructions from the pre-surgery, during the surgery, and right after the surgery. So in my case, the doctor told me that I have to walk as much as possible. He told me do not just sit or lay down all day after the surgery. No matter how much pain you have, no matter how uncomfortable you are, you have to get up and try to walk. It doesn't have to be long. Just take your time and do maybe 5-10 minutes at a time. Do a couple of times a day, but do not sit still. You have to exercise your muscle. You have to build that strength in your leg so you can get back to your normal life as fast as possible, because that's your goal as well. Thank you so much for all of your support, for making comments, for liking my videos, for adding your feedback and some additional information for other people who watch my videos. So I really appreciate it. I love reading your comments. I always try to respond to them, and I definitely appreciate all of your support. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I wish you good luck with your procedure, and I hope your surgery and your recovery will go as well as mine.